Feel free to check out my previous live pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs, Day 26, Tyler Perry, $260 million lawsuit against him for SA sexual harassment, and Robert Kelly. He was rushed to the hospital last week in North Carolina, diagnosed with overdose of his medications, 2 medications, I believe, or so, sleeping aids, anxiety meds, and also diagnosed with blood clots in his legs and lungs, rushed out of the hospital by armed guards, authorities, back to the prison to solitary confinement. He still has the blood clots in his lungs, says his lawyers. The lawyer claims that they are trying to unalive his client. Do you believe these allegations? Please take the poll on my community page pertaining to this said topic. And also, Sean Puffy Combs, Idaho 4 murders, and other breaking news. Welcome to the Vault XL, live number 2, everybody. Let's get down to business. Mr. Kohberger is trying to delay this trial. He and Annie Taylor and her team. The judge feels like they've had enough time to prepare for this trial. It's supposed to start in August of 2025 this year. And also they're supposed to be also bringing forward alternate perpetrators. So the judge will be deciding this said information today in court pertaining to delayment and alternate suspects. I don't believe there's another suspect. I believe he's the only suspect. I believe authorities have the right person. And also I'm going to show you another video pertaining to people who were at the house the morning of the murders who went to the home. I thought there was only 2 people extra with Dylan and Bethany. But now we learned that there are 2 females and a male, Hunter and 2 other females. The plot thickens with this case. It just goes on and on and on. And also, we also learned that a DoorDash driver has decided to speak or has given commentary that she's an eyewitness. She was pulled over last year for a DUI, a suspicion of DUI, and somehow she decides to tell the officer on body cam that she is the DoorDash driver that witnessed Mr. Kohberger being outside of the home. Do you believe she saw his car outside? She was parked beside his car unknowingly. Take the poll on my community page. Whole lot of stuff going on with this case. Every day there's something coming out that's not supposed to be said. I'm sure the judge will probably reprimand this person. Like, why are you speaking? Why are you talking to law officials about something that you're not even supposed to be talking about? It seems that nobody can hold water today because we've got leaks in the Puffy trial. We've got this woman running her mouth last year to a police officer as if that was going to make him say, oh, yeah, go ahead. I'm going to let you go because you saw the killer. Ooh, I can't. So what was her reason for mentioning that during the stop, the DUI stop? And did she get charged with DUI? Don't know. Let's get down to business, everybody. Welcome to the Vault XL. This is live number 2.
Happening today in a matter of hours, an Ada County judge will hear arguments for and against postponing Brian Kohberger's upcoming quadruple murder trial.
Crep 2's Brandon T. Jones is live in the newsroom this morning. So, Brandon, the potential delay is just one of 2 key issues that will be heard today, right?
Yeah, Tim, Nicole, that's right. Kohberger's motion to delay his trial will also be open to the public today. The second hearing is a closed hearing and will be arguments over his attorney's allegations of alternate perpetrators. So as for the motion to delay, Kohberger's defense pushed for this back on May 20th, citing they want more time to prepare given the large amounts of attention this case has received, arguing a pushed-back trial would help with prejudicial pretrial publicity. The team also states the current date would violate Kohberger's constitutional rights, adding death penalty cases require extraordinary measures and heightened scrutiny. The defense also pointed to the recent Dateline episode, calling the coverage highly inflammatory and believe it'll get in the way of Kohberger's right to a fair trial. Latah County prosecutors argue the defense has had plenty of time and resources to prepare, and postponing the trial is unwarranted and harmful to the victims' rights to a timely resolution and justice. Judge Stephen Hippler will also hear arguments over the defense's alternate perps theory. They argue the state received thousands of tips regarding possible perpetrators during the course of the investigation, but solely focused on Kohberger. The state says any attempt to offer or argue an alternate perp without evidence would do nothing more than mislead and confuse the jury and would, quote, be a waste of time. So today's hearing will start roughly around 11:30. With any updates, we'll have coverage across all currency platforms. For now.
All right, everybody. That is the latest pertaining to Mr. Kohberger. Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. Let's get us a little shot of this minion. Hold on, everybody. Ooh, Annie Taylor is working overtime for Mr. Kohberger, I must admit. As I said, by the time she finishes this case, she will definitely be a millionaire because of what she's being paid to represent Mr. Kohberger, BK. We've got a lot to discuss pertaining to him, so sit back, enjoy the ride. I'm trying to get a snapshot of this thing, this animal. Hold on, so I get a better picture. This man stands accused of murdering 4 college students from the University of Idaho. Today in court, the judge will hear motions pertaining to a delayment, which he feels like Annie Taylor and her team has had enough time to prepare his case. And also in a closed hearing, he will listen to alternate perpetrators. Well, the problem with that is you have to have evidence. And this has been mentioned the past couple of months when she's been going on and on about alternate perpetrators. Annie is doing what most attorneys do, defense attorneys do. They come up with something new according to the evidence that's been released, evidence that's been seized, gathered, viewed. Okay, they've got this on you, they've got this on you. Let's now say it was somebody else. She has to say this because she has nowhere else to go. She's grasping at straws. Once she's seen all the evidence, pictures, phone pinging, tagging, video of his car there. Now we got a DoorDash driver saying she parked beside him, that he was there at the house. We're going to get into that too. She has nowhere to go. It's downhill for Annie Taylor and Mr. Kohberger, but it is what it is. Stargazing has led us to this nonsense of now alternate perpetrator. What will the judge decide? Will the judge allow Annie Taylor to bring in an alternate perpetrator? So in order for her to bring in the alternate perpetrator, she must have evidence, meaning who is she going to implicate as a perpetrator? So Annie Taylor, enlighten us. Who will be the perpetrator besides your client? Since your client didn't do it, then who do you believe committed these atrocious murders? Somebody in the house, another college student, the butcher, the baker, somebody that worked at the restaurant, because you all went on and on about the restaurant and how he found them, blah, 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 blah. I get bored very easily. People who know me know how I am. I get bored very easily off of assumptions of how somebody met somebody, found somebody. We live in a world of social media. You do not have to leave your house to meet anyone. I refuse to believe that the restaurant where the girls work was the only place that served vegetables. Come on, stop it. Oh, that's how he found them, blah, 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 blah. You haven't even heard that yet. Everything's on social media. Your picture, your profile, all of that. You don't need to go anywhere to meet anybody, fancy somebody, stalk somebody. All you have to do is go on your phone, pull up pictures. Hell, Facebook, IG gives you suggestions of people to friend. Duh. YouTube, no different. Endless posts and videos to watch. It's not a YouTube guy riding around on a bicycle, banging on your door, telling you which video to watch. So that's the same for Facebook and IG. There's nobody in a cloak and dagger riding around in an Uber, picking out your address. Open up. I got a friend suggestion for you. Got somebody I want you to stalk. Just stop it. Endless allegations of nonsense. In the end, who cares? I definitely don't go to sleep at night worrying about how Kohberger came across a target. My advice to you, let it go. When they go to court, they're going to bring you the evidence. You either believe it or you don't. It is your choice. But I'm serious. Enough of making up stuff. This is why I don't like talking about true crime, talking about children cases, because people get beside themselves on stuff they have no idea and just make up stuff. And you all are too old for that. This is why we have all this gossip and misinformation about these crimes, because people don't know what the hell they're talking about. Who cares how he found one of the two or whoever he liked, didn't like? I could care less. The point is they're dead. They're dead. They're not coming back. You think their parents care? I wonder how he found them. And because everybody loves putting things on social media, let's be truthful. The town is only but so big. You're posting your house. You're going live at your house. You're going live at your student. You have your government name on your profile. And you really want to sit here and ask the question, how he found them? Are you serious? Come on now. Well, stop this nonsense. That's why I keep telling you, you have to be careful what you post. Can't go live everywhere. You think it's harmless, but it is harmless. And to some degree, to you maybe, but not to somebody out here that's sick. I'm just being real. Because we still live in a world where people think it's okay to share everything. Oh, I went to the doctor. He's on the 5th floor. His name is such and such. I'm here before my ankle, my knee. I'm now leaving the hospital. Do we need to have all the details? I'm just throwing this out here. Yeah, this is my little rant, because sometimes people need a little tap on the shoulder. You got to be careful what you share. And it would not have been hard to find these kids because they like to go live. They like to show themselves. And you're showing your house. Would not be hard to find that house in a small ass town. You're talking about a town that don't even got probably 50,000 people. How hard do you think it'd be? He didn't even have to go Google their names to get an address. Did you know you can zoom in on a video or a photo still of a content with your phone? Touch your screen. It'll blow up the picture. Ding, 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 ding. There's your street. Your street's in the background. I now know where you are. It's not rocket science. So Annie Taylor, who is the ultimate perpetrator? Enlighten us. Because the judge wants to hear a name. So now you're getting ready to go in the belly of the beast and throw out some innocent person's name as the perpetrator. And who might that be? Kohberger doesn't know anybody. He doesn't have any friends. So who is he going to implicate? One of his students? One of the residents at the apartment complex? One of the roommates? Is he going to make up that he knows one of the roommates? Many people felt like one of the roommates was involved, or two, or that they knew Kohberger, they dated, blah, 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 blah. Once again, more gossip. Nobody has proof to. So Annie's been listening to this. Kohberger's been listening to this nonsense. So now we're going to see if they're going to feed into you all's gossip of an alternate perpetrator. So who is it? Annie? Give us a hint. Are you going to implicate one of the people that was on the news? The guy next door that everybody called creepy? The chef that lived up on the hill, or whomever? Are you going to implicate him? Just say, who are you going to implicate? Because it's got to be somebody that was on the news. Kaylee's ex-boyfriend. Everybody thought it was him. Boy, y'all felt like a fool after that, didn't you? He didn't get arrested. Who's this Kohberger fella? This is why you can't assume stuff. So what? She had a boyfriend. She broke up with somebody. That don't mean he killed her. People break up with people all the time. Everybody don't get murdered by their exes. So what? She called him that morning. I call it drunk dialing. Many women have done it. Men do it all the time. Doesn't mean a thing. You all butchered that boy. Just about as bad as these kids were butchered. And sadly, he had to live knowing that people assumed that he killed his ex-girlfriend and her friends. And he's got to still walk around with that damage. Hopefully he's, getting proper care. Hell, he might need to see a therapist after the way everybody slaughtered him down as the perpetrator. See, this is why you have to be careful assuming things. And yes, I've done it. I'm guilty of it. But certain cases, when I go into, I won't readily say who I think did it because I don't know. But I'll wait a while and watch the person, people in the story. Then I may get my opinion and say, yeah, this person appears to be guilty of something. But that boy was doused with gasoline. And I'm sure he was relieved when the perpetrator was found and arrested, Mr. Kohberger. Do you believe Mr. Kohberger is the right person standing trial for these murders? And who are they going to implicate? Because God forbid it's anybody in that house, which would be Bethany and Dylan. Then that means he'd have to prove he has knowledge, knows these people. You have to prove something. And if it's not true, then that means it's a lie. I'm just saying. Who is the alternate perpetrator? And why are you all delaying this trial? Get on with it. These people want justice, the family members, the community. It's time to move on. It's time to move on. And as they have been saying, all this stalling is just disrespectful to the deceased. Disrespectful to them, disrespectful to their family members. Because there needs to be an end result. Worrying about what people think out here, Annie Taylor, you have no control over that. And that's what a defendant needs to understand. You've been charged, indicted by a grand jury. Obviously, the state, the federal government brought forward information. It is what it is. It is your attorney's duty to show that you didn't do it. So you can't get angry about what people are saying on social media and how harmful this and that is, what people are saying. You don't have any control over what people are saying. It is what it is. You didn't do it, you don't have anything to worry about. You put your faith in Annie Taylor, she'll get you off. And pray that you don't get found guilty, because you will also be facing the death penalty, Mr. Kohberger, and you know that. That's why I think you're stalling this out. But you should know, because you're such a smart fella, that you won't see the needle to the arm of the firing squad for probably another 10, 15 years. So you've got time. You got a little bit of time to sit in prison, bore yourself to death before they shoot you. But you feel like, hell, I don't want to find out. I don't care if it's year 10, year 15, year 20. I want to prolong this. But what do they say in the street? Why prolong the inevitable? But we're not in his shoes, so that's why he's prolonging this. It's obvious. And in the meantime, Annie Taylor is getting richer by the day, if you didn't know. All right, everybody, that's my commentary pertaining to that nonsense. We're going to go onto my community page and hear from the eyewitnesses. I did not know that there were 3 people at this damn house that morning. Okay? I thought it was Hunter and another female. Now we hear that there were 2 females and a Mr. Hunter. So 2 females and a male were at the house the morning of the Idaho murders. This shit is just getting crazier and crazier. The trial has halted pertaining to P. Diddy. Don't know what that's all about, but I'll get to that later. Lord knows, I can't talk about everything. Prime video pertaining to the Idaho murders. Feel free to check it out. I've got it on my community page. We're going to hear from Good Morning America. Witnesses have decided to speak out in the documentary, which I find very interesting. You all have been quiet all this time, and now since the trial is coming up, you all decided to speak publicly about what you heard, what you saw that morning. As I said before, when I jogged my memory back to the 911 call, I thought it was Hunter and another female, because when they were passing the phone back and forth, hot potato, I was trying to decipher the voices. Now we're hearing we have a total of 4 females at the crime scene and a male, which is ridiculous to me. And now you can't tell people not to judge the situation, because anybody listening to this is going to say, well, damn, well, how many people were actually there that morning that went there because these 2 girls were afraid to walk around their house? This is ridiculous to me. I don't care what anyone says. And you can call it victim shaming, bashing. I don't care. I deal with logic. So I can't speak for what these damn girls did that morning. I can just say it would not have been Queen. And that's the only way I can judge it. I'm not going to call half of the neighborhood I'm getting ready to run out my house. I'm ready to run out my house as soon as I saw somebody in a mask. Let me stop. Let me start that. Let me walk out of here, run out of here, skip out of here, jump out of here. Homegirl, you coming or you staying? What you doing? Because I'm making a run for it. I got my purse, my backpack, my tennis shoes on, my coat, my hat. I'll meet you at the front gate. We don't sit up in here for hours talking to everybody, mama, daddy, cousin, brother. Then we call them Peter, Paul, Joe, Dick, Mary, Sue. Hey, come over here. I'm scared. This is crazy to me. And nobody can get mad at Queen's opinion because there are many people out here who think just like Queen. This don't make no sense. And I'm not here to say these kids got anything to do with these murders. What I'm saying is the behavior is odd to me. So you can blame alcohol, drugs, weed, pills. Hey, that's you. I'm not blaming it on none of that. I'm blaming it on common sense. A big person walked by me with a ski mask on and I don't know him. And he's in my damn house. What the hell is he doing here? That's what I'm on. I ain't on what these other people are. This shit is crazy to me. Because we got 4 kids dead. Whether they could be saved or not, how do I know if they could be saved? Medical exam, she had to tell me, oh no, nobody could be saved that night. In the end, it still don't matter. You still should have called the police. Hey, this guy just walked by me. I don't know what he's doing here. I'm trying to call my roommates. They're gonna answer the phone. I'm scared. Can you send an officer over? What was so hard about that? Why was it so hard to call 911? I don't understand. But we're being judgmental because we're thinking logically. Shit, I tell you right now, let somebody walk by you right now in a ski mask and you tell me what you would do. You tell me that you would go shut your door and call 5 or 6 people. Yeah, okay. You would go call 5 or 6 people and huddle up in that room and never once think I need to call 911. If you would do that, you need to seek mental help. Because they might be scared, the people you're calling. Did that ever occur to anybody? You're calling somebody to come to your house hours later. They might say, well, hell, I don't want to go in there. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what happened. You're still sleeping in there and you want me to come over there? Hell, what if they're still there? Exactly. And then the fact that Kohberger returned that morning because he knew he forgot the sheath, that's why he came back. He went back. And then you're going to call some other people to endanger their lives. Hey, yeah, y'all come over here and help us get out of this house. What all they had to do was run out. So we're going to hear somebody give their testimony, how fearful the girls were when they showed up. It's a weird case. Very weird case.
It's all part of a new docuseries. Kana Whitworth has the story. Good morning, Kana.
Yeah, George, good morning. The docuseries is called One Night in Idaho, The College Murders, and it reveals exactly what happened the morning after the murders, the panic, fear, and chaos of uncovering the most brutal crime that Moscow had ever seen and how those closest to the victims learned of the tragedy.
This morning, an exclusive first look at a new docuseries revealing what happened the morning after 4 University of Idaho students were murdered in an off-campus home.
Nobody could have imagined what was about to happen.
The friends who were first on scene telling their story in Prime Video's One Night in Idaho, The College Murders.
We were a big group of friends. Why would you target those 4?
Emily Lott, her boyfriend Hunter Johnson, and roommate Josie Louderin lived just down the street from the King Road house. And on that November morning, they say one of the surviving roommates called, saying she was scared, asking them to come over.
When Dylan had called, I didn't think it was urgent. So I started walking to Santa's house, and when we got there, Dylan and Bethany had exited the house.
Seeing her friends sitting in the driveway, Emily...
I want you to think about what she just said. When she called me, whoever she is, I didn't think it was urgent. You can't make this up. I keep trying to tell people, you think you know everything. All you got to do is let a donkey speak. It'll tell on itself. Not to be rude and call her a donkey, but just using metaphor. You're going to somebody's house early morning or late morning almost on something you say that you didn't even think was serious. I want you to think about them words, because guess what? The defense is going to eat her alive with her own words. And now that you've done a documentary, oh yeah, she's going to tear you to shreds. You didn't think it was important? Well, why'd you go over there then? I want you all to think about that now, because you got to think. Her words are coming from what she thought at that time. Don't matter if it's true or not. But she has to be feeding off of Bethany or Dylan calling her for her to say that. If you get where I'm going with this. I didn't think it was that serious. Okay, but she goes anyway. We now know it was serious because there were 4 dead people in the house. Allegedly, these 2 females didn't know, but yet one saw a guy in a ski mask hours before, which should have alerted her common senses. I better call 911 because, okay, I'm calling these girls. They're not answering. I'm calling one room, nobody's answering. Ethan ain't answering. Xana ain't answering. Kaylee ain't answering. Maddie ain't answering. If this is some type of joke, this is a bad joke. And then anybody with sense would have said, well, you in the house. It's not like you are down the street calling. These people aren't answering at 3, 4 in the morning. That'd be different. Okay, I'll call them later. You live in the house. So then you got to explain that. Why you didn't get up and go knock on the door and say, hey, you all right? Hey, you okay? I don't mean to disturb you, but I saw this guy walk by in a mask and I was wondering, is this your friend? That's why I tell people you got to think about everything that's been told to you. Because Annie Taylor and the prosecution, their job is to tackle every instance. That's why I always tell you, you have to be careful what you say. Because your words can come back and haunt you. This girl's words is going to come back and haunt her in August. I didn't think it was that important. So guess what? Her attitude is no different than the 2 girls' attitudes. You're affirming what we've already been saying for years. It couldn't have been that important because they stayed in the house. One saw a mask. She calls the other roommate downstairs. She calls all the other girls. They're not answering. Call Ethan. He's not answering. Runs down there and sleeps with her all day until she calls you guys to come over. Who the hell does this? Yeah, I'm judging. Hell yeah, I'm a judge. I'm 54. I can judge. I've lived. Damn right, I'm a judge. We've role played how many times on this network about anybody walking by us in the house. I don't care if it's morning, noon, or night. You're not going to sit here and tell me right now you're at your house and somebody walks by you in a ski mask. You just going to keep sitting there. You just going to keep sitting there. Or better yet, 5 hours later, let me call my mom. Ring, ring, ring. Hi, Mom, what you doing? Oh, nothing. I just rolled out of bed. Why are you calling me so early? Well, I saw this guy in a ski mask 5 hours ago. Huh? Well, why are you still in the house? Where are you? I'm at the house. What? Get out of there. Exactly. I always tell people role play. You should role play every little thing you do and say in life. Always play it back in your head, say it out loud. And ask yourself, what I just repeated to myself, does it make sense? Okay? Does it make sense what I just repeated to myself? Not Paul, not Dick, not Mary, my mom, my dad. To me, does it make sense? Queen, you are looking at a human walk by you in a ski mask and you do nothing. Does that make sense? Well, you can't be that stoned or drunk because they already done told you with the affidavit. The girls didn't get no more than less than 5 hours of sleep from the time the incident occurred until the time they were on the phone. So you're not that drunk. These are their words, not mine. It's in the affidavit. It's in ink. They were on the phone just short hours later calling different people up until calling Hunter and these girls. So you're not that stoned. And Dylan was doing a job application. So how stoned can you be filling out important paperwork? You're not stoned. Because I don't know anybody stoned go to fill out an application and a resume. You say to yourself, I'll do this later when I'm feeling better. So this is why I always tell people, your words can come back and haunt you. You being on the internet hours after waking up, meaning you did not get a lot of sleep because they have your phone records to show you were on the phone early a.m., which means you can't be that inebriated. A drunk person has to go to sleep at some point. A stoned person has to go to sleep at some point. You're talking about being up for hours from the time you got up Saturday, ran around, did this, did that, and then partied, ate a little something, party, went home, kids are loud, slamming doors, you're yelling, you're hollering. At this point, they're being butchered, but you don't know. And you're up while all that's going on. Back and forth, running to the door. Stop, shut up. Make it make sense. And then you only go to sleep for a few hours because your phone's got you up at about 7-something, 8 in the morning. So you can't be that inebriated. I'm just calling a spade a spade. That's why I always tell you, you got to be careful what you say. And when they go to court, whether they've got all this evidence against Kohberger or not, Annie still has to do her job diligently to try to get her client off. And that's what she's going to dig into. Every little thing you did the morning you woke up Saturday up until you saw allegedly my client walk by you and you didn't do nothing but play phone tag. And you couldn't have slept that long either because you were on the internet at 7 in the morning. Make it make sense. And you're so afraid you still don't call nobody in those hours, except for your mom. What did they tell you? So you got to ask all them questions. What did the parents say? Well, what are you doing? Get out of the house. Go check. Why don't you go check? Don't you think a grown person would tell a child that? Well, get up and check. Did you go knock on their door? No. Well, go knock. I'm scared. See, that's not going to make no sense. And I get it. Everybody thinks differently. People do things differently. But you got to use your head. You're not talking about what you think happened in the house. Nobody's answering their phone. You just saw a whole human walk by in a ski mask. That's totally different. Why are you still in your house? Why did you not go knock on one of the girls' doors? Hey, are you okay? I heard a disturbance. Hey, your dog is barking. What's going on? Come on now. You're in this house and you don't even think to go to their doors? I can't, that just don't register with me. And you're talking about hours of sitting in this house with dead people. And there has to be a stench because the cop said it was when he walked in. So this is why I keep telling everybody, you can make all the excuses you want. It still don't add up. Because the cop said it. When I walked in the front door, iron rose in my nose. Blood rose in my nose. And yet you're in there with the blood and you didn't smell it. You didn't even sit here into yourself and say, there's an odd smell here. What does that smell? Come on now. And I've told you all you can smell blood. You don't have to be in a room where the person was unalive to know what the smell is. It's just like anything. You know what chicken smells like. You know what steak smells like. You know what bleach smells like. Trust me, a person is shot, murdered, you're going to know what blood smells like. Nobody's going to have to tell you what that smell is. Trust me, you know, you've bled before. You know what blood tastes like. You've bit your lip. You might have had a gum bleed. You know what blood even tastes like. Well, tasting and the smelling is damn near similar. It don't make no sense to me. And now we got this girl on a documentary. She's making it worse by saying, I didn't really think it was anything serious. Jesus Christ. Well, how's that going to sound in court? Because Annie's going to say, well, if you didn't think it was serious, why'd you go over there? I don't know. They're my friends. I just thought I'd go help them out. Let's finish this nonsense.
Emily knew right away something was wrong.
They frightened, just kind of like just hands on their mouth, like, I don't know what's going on type thing.
Hunter immediately went to investigate.
Mr. Johnson was already in the house. We were just a bit behind.
As soon as I stepped in the house, I was like, oh, something is so not right. Like, you could feel it almost.
They didn't know it yet, but their very best friends, Anna Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonzalez, and Madison Mogan, had all been murdered. Hunter was the first to realize the tragedy, and he's heard on the 911 call rushing everyone outside. Ethan was the eldest of triplets, and his siblings, Hunter and Maisie, were also attending the University of Idaho. They were called to the home amid the panic. But it would be hours before they would all learn what really happened to their friends, and now they were trying to understand the worst homicide the small town of Moscow, Idaho, had ever seen.
This is another person speaking. Eyewitness number 2. You could tell when you walked in the house something was not right. Their words, not mine. I'll let that sit right there. You could tell something was not right when you entered into the house. And yet, 2 itty-bitty spiders stayed in the house in the darkness, in the alleged unknown, and the carnage, and allegedly never investigated to see that their friends were unalived and savagely butchered in the same home. Make it make sense. It is winter time, and I'm going to assume that somebody had the heat on in Moscow, Idaho, at King Road. And I know somebody out there who listens to me vigorously, they know where I'm getting ready to go with this statement. 4 people have been brutally murdered and lying dead for hours. It should have been boiling blood in there with the heat on. So I'm going to say it again. How did you not know that something wasn't right in your house? Now, this girl doesn't say, well, I smelled something strange when I entered. But she said it didn't feel right. I should say so. It shouldn't have felt right, and it shouldn't have smelled right. Because it's winter, number 1. 2, heat should have been on, meaning the smell of death should have been rising in your nose. Especially if you dozed off for a couple of hours and got up. That should have been the first thing you smelled through the vents was death. Blood. Blood, if anything, before the body started to decay. Make it make sense. Hours of doing nothing. Never once going to the door of the people to see. And we also learned recently that Ethan, I believe, was visible. Or no, Xana was visible. lying down. So Hunter saw her. And we also learned that, I thought they said Bethany, Dylan saw her. She thought she was passed out. That's what she said. Oh, I just thought she was passed out. So she just ran by the friend lying out, I guess in the hallway, doorway, whichever, and kept on moving down to Bethany's room. Make it make sense now? That was the latest thing we learned about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. She did see Xana lying there. And I always question that as well. Well, where were the people lying when they were discovered? And you could tell on the 911 call that to some degree, these people had to have knowledge that those kids were dead because one of the girls didn't want to go back in. So if you don't know what happened, why are you scared to go back in the house? You exited out of the first floor, meaning you don't have a view of the second and the third floor, okay? So you call your friends over, you all are playing hopscotch with the phone, irritating the dispatcher. She's trying to get an understanding of what the hell is going on at that time, not hours before. And then one of the girls says to the other one, well, we got to go back in, come on. And you realize one of them didn't want to go back in. You didn't want to go back in because you knew those kids were dead. What did I just say? You could smell the blood by the time they called Hunter and these two girls. There's no way you couldn't have smelled the blood. Because soon after they got off to the dispatch call, the cop shows up and he says that's the first thing he noticed when he opened the door. Was the smell of blood. It rose to his nose, is exactly what he said. So how are you in the house and you don't smell it? You had to smell it. And you had to have known when you got up, something ain't right in this house. So what I want to know is the truth. Did these girls check on them kids and saw that they were dead and slept down in the rooms any damn way at whichever time? And many people will find this very baffling and macabre, but we have learned in true crime that there are always people who have knowledge of a crime either before, during, or after, and they don't do anything. You have people who have lied in a house with dead people, in sight, in view, and never called 911, the ambulance, nothing. Why they do it, I don't know. Everybody's got their reasons for their foolishness and ignorance. But the fact that one of the girls didn't want to go back in the house, it's obvious you had to have known them kids were dead. You knew something wasn't right. Because you heard the girl saying, come on, we got to. It's on the dispatch call. Come on, we got to. So I said it then when I played you all the call. Well, if he ran out telling people to get out the house, what do I need to go back in there for? I'm just going to use deduction that he saw something that was heinous. So why do I need to go back in? Which, that's a good point. Why we got to go back in? He just came out. He just told us, get out, get out, get out. Well, what are we going back in here for? Just saying, pay attention to the details. And you never hear Hunter once say on the dispatch, look, ma'am, they are dead. The two I just saw are dead. And even on the dispatch call, what is strange, the entire conversation is about Xana, which don't make no sense to me either. Because there's no way you're going to tell me you see her pass out, and if his truck was outside or car, wouldn't I be saying, well, where is Ethan? And then they slipped up and mentioned it before the 911 call ends. She said they, or him too. And the dispatcher didn't catch that. The dispatcher was supposed to say, who are they? Who are you talking about? I thought it was just one person. See, this is some crazy nonsense.
There's this person out there who had just murdered a brother, and he's still out there somewhere.
His parents and siblings featured in that series, and later this month we'll have a chance to speak with them along with Hunter and Emily. Maddie's parents were also interviewed for the series. One Night in Idaho, The College Murders, premieres July 11th on Prime Video, and you guys, that is exactly 1 month before this trial is set to start, guys.
We know you've been
1 month.
on this from the very beginning, Kayla.
1 month. July 11th. So if you have Prime, feel free to check out the video. Emily Allant, she's a friend of the victims. She was there at the house the morning of the murders with Hunter and another young lady. We all thought, with the latest information, that there were just 2 people there with Bethany and Dylan. Now we hear that there are 3. Confirmed now 3. This is why the dispatcher was confused, because too many people were talking and passing the phone back and forth, not giving an actual depiction of what the hell was going on. And as I said, it just doesn't add up that you're in this house, a stranger walks by, you're not curious to who the stranger is, you don't go walk through the house to try to see about your other roommates, which is bizarre to me. After calling them and getting no answer, you went downstairs to Bethany's room. You passed Xana knocked out. We just now learning that this year. It's pathetic to me. I'm sorry. It's my opinion. This is pathetic to me. I don't know what a dog was. You don't hear no mention of a dog in none of this commentary. Maybe they'll mention it in the documentary. Don't know. But this is bizarre to me. And that's a good question. When did the dog stop barking, start barking periodically through the morning? Did the dog normally bark when it was staying there with Kaylee, when she was living there? So you have to ask all those questions because they will be relevant. But this is a bizarre tale of people just saying, well, I'll worry about it later. Whatever's wrong, I'll worry about it later. I just find it strange because they live there. As I said, this is not somebody calling me saying something seems strange, awkward. I think I would say, well, what do you want to do? You want to come out the house? You want to walk through the house? You want to get some people to go through the house with you? That's what my commentary would be. Frankly, I believe I would say you need to get out of the house once you tell me you saw a man walk by. We'll worry about everything else later. You need to get out that house, call authorities, and let them walk through the house. And then the authorities would have found the dead kids. And Kohberger would have been coming up the street because by the time he decided to turn on the street, he would have seen police cars already parked outside the house from turning on the street. So he would have had to turn around and get the hell out of Dodge. And somebody should have him on camera coming up the street that morning in the AM. Checkmate. Stay woke. Now we got a DoorDash driver saying she saw Mr. Kohberger. Let's play a little bit of that. Lord have mercy, Jesus. This is a crazy, crazy, crazy situation. So we got a delay, possible delay. Kohberger's attorney who want to delay, want to introduce alternate perpetrators. This is a hot butter mess. Take the poll on my community page. Check out my commentary on R. Kelly. He was hospitalized at Duke last week. He's now back in solitary confinement. Is he very ill? I would assume so. He has blood clots in his lungs and legs. Denied care at the hospital because the guards rushed him out of there. Authorities or whoever, police. Tyler Perry is being sued for $260 million for sexual assault, sexual harassment. Very odd, wicked story as well. A juror dismissed, Puffy trial. And then another juror got an anonymous text asking, was he juror number 6? It's a lot of shenanigans going on. Let's hear from Miss Banfield about this nonsense with this DoorDash lady. I'm gonna play bits and pieces of this. All right, everybody. Now we have two people to say they saw Brian Kohberger at the scene. Lord, 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 Lord.
5 days away from the opening statements in the Idaho quadruple murder trial. And if you thought things couldn't look any worse
Hold on.
for Brian, the opening statements in the Idaho quadruple
55
murder
days,
trial.
55 days, everybody.
Things couldn't look any worse for Brian Kohberger with, the DNA and the cell phone data and the surveillance video and an eyewitness description of his eyebrows, at least, not to mention the laughable alibi. I like stargazing at 4 o'clock in the morning with my phone turned off. I know, I kind of thought that too, until what I heard today. A smoking gun that both sides somehow managed to keep under wraps for months. There is apparently another eyewitness. It's the DoorDash driver who delivered food to Xana Kernodle less than 10 minutes before Xana and her boyfriend Ethan Chapin and Xana's housemates Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez were all savagely murdered by an intruder. Police have confirmed to us that a woman seen in some of the interrogation footage from an unrelated incident is a 43-year-old woman known only as MM in the court documents. She was arrested that day for a DUI while being questioned at the Pullman, Washington police station. Just happened to reveal to the officers that she had to, quote, testify in a big murder case here because I'm the DoorDash driver, end quote. When the officer asks which murder case, the woman says, quote, the murder case with the college girls. I'm the DoorDash driver. I saw Brian there. I parked right next to him, end quote. And I think I need to read that last part again because I did a double take when I first saw it. I saw Brian there, she says. I parked right next to him. That interrogation video was posted on a YouTube account where it was discovered by web sleuths and journalists. It's unclear, though, whether the woman's outing will affect the start date of the trial itself. The defense has been pushing for a delay for weeks now, but that's over the media leaks, the whole Dateline episode kerfuffle. And that is due to be the subject of a big hearing tomorrow. But the prosecutors want the trial to stay on target for the planned August 11th beginning. Our senior national correspondent, Brian Enton, is in Boise, Idaho tonight with much more on what all of this means. First of all, I did not see this coming, a second eyewitness.
Yeah, this is a bombshell, Ashley. If it is true what this DoorDash driver is saying, then this is a bombshell. I came to Boise thinking that the hearing tomorrow was going to be the big story, but this is big. The Idaho Statesman was the first to break it today. Basically, this DoorDash driver, who we knew existed, by the way. We've known for a long time there was a DoorDash driver, that she goes by MM. She's been referenced in the court documents. We knew that she arrived there to deliver DoorDash at 4 a.m., about 10 minutes or so before the murders. But what we didn't know is what is in this body camera video. And let me explain this a little bit. You did, Ashley, but the reason we know about this is because last year, this DoorDash driver, totally unrelated to the Brian Kohberger case, she got pulled over, suspected of driving under the influence. She had a expired tag, suspected of being under prescription pills. And she got pulled over, and she just started volunteering this information to the police while she was being interviewed, and it's on body cam. And she said that she's the DoorDash driver from the Brian Kohberger case, that she saw Brian Kohberger, which is really the headline here, that she's a witness who saw Brian Kohberger, and all of this just happened to come out through this new body camera video from Pullman, Washington.
So, Brian, take us back to the house. We're going to have to describe it because the house has been torn down. But if you look at the front of the house, there's a parking lot out front where all the cars were lined up, and they stayed that way till they were all towed. But this DoorDash driver said, I parked next to him, which makes me wonder if she's talking about the parking lot out front,
exactly,
or if she's talking about that side street
on the
off
street
the left where that bushy tree is, that big tall bushy tree is, just adjacent to the red car there. Because there's a side street that goes up that left-hand side of the house, and isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very
yeah, she wouldn't park there.
Yeah. Walk me through that.
Let me say this. I cannot see the DoorDash driver parking up there, that side street. That wouldn't make any sense. You want to park as closest to your destination, which is right there. And as you see, this is roped off. So that means the cars are in the same place they were at the time of the murders. I would pull up in that drive. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I ain't worried about blocking nobody. I'm just going to drive in there, pull the food out, walk in, drop it off where they want me to drop it off, either down at that door or the door around the corner, and go on. So let's start at the beginning. Number one, where did she park her car? Right here or in the parking lot? Where did she drop off the food? This door or around the corner? Where did Xana tell her to bring the food? We know that a lot of the girls probably use that side door, which makes no sense. You'll walk all around through the dirt and dust or whatever. But I don't know, because I don't know the girls. And they're not here to tell us which door they entertain people the most. So where did the driver park her car? What's going to be even more crazy, she tells us she parked her car up in here or up front, because that space will be kind of tight to park in. So let's say she pulled over here or behind that car or that car. Then that means Kohberger would have been in here, and that means the killer is sitting outside parked in your parking lot while you're in your house sleeping, waiting on DoorDash, on the internet, whatever girls were doing. That's scary as hell. So where did the DoorDash lady park her car? Because the fact that you've got all this open space to pull in, I would assume you pull in there, closest to the door. Why not? Where did she park? Because if she parked on the street, then where was Kohberger's car? He's parked what, right there on the side? So he can just run in and run back out, and then you just pulled up beside his car? And then you wouldn't find that strange if he was parked right here or right here when there's all that space to pull in? See, I would find that strange if I pulled up right now and you were parked right in here, right here, right here, but not in there. So I don't know why Banfield thinks he would park up there and she'd be stupid enough to park her car up there when the house is right here. I'm not going to park my car up here and then walk over that mound of dirt to the door with your DoorDash. This is crazy as hell.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. There was someone talking in my ear. Yeah, it's a very, very important part of what she said. Not only that she said, I saw Brian Kohberger, but I wrote this down. She said, I parked right next to him. Now, you think about DoorDash. We all order DoorDash. A DoorDash driver typically would park right in front of the house where they bring the food. They pull into the driveway. You see them in the driveway. They get out. They go to the front door. They give the customer the food. Why would the DoorDash driver drive onto the side?
Yeah, she wouldn't. She's not going to park over there.
You've got the front of the house, you've got the driveway like you described it, but then you've got this side road that goes up the side near an apartment building. You can't even walk down to the house like through. You'd have to go to the woods unless you walk all the way around if you went to the side road.
Exactly.
We don't know exactly where Brian Kohberger parks. You know, if he's guilty of all this, they've never said that in any of the documents. We know that he's caught on camera going up there and going up towards the house, but we don't know exactly where he parks. But if she's saying that she parked right next to him, does that mean that he parked right in front of the house?
Exactly.
That he pulled right in the driveway.
Very good question. Did Kohberger park in the driveway near the door or behind one of the girls' cars or parked cars? This is scary as hell. It's scary knowing he went in the house, did not break in, butchered these kids, came out. Dylan saw him, never called 911, slept in the house for hours, calling different people on the phone, calling different people over to the house. He also returned back to the house after 9 a.m. That's on camera. Now we get a DoorDash person speaking to law enforcement last year during an alleged DUI stop to say, oh, I'm a witness in the crime. Why she's telling that is a mystery to me. Stupid person. Just a stupid person. What does that have to do with you being pulled over with expired tag? Nothing. Is this person still driving for DoorDash? Did this person park beside Brian Kohberger? Number 2. Did Kohberger park in the parking lot? Number 3. Who else saw this man near the house, either on foot or in a car? Will we get more surveillance from houses, doorbell cameras of his car coming and going for several months? Because we got information he was going over to Moscow before the crime. He was there late summer, going over to this house, different times of night, different times at night, surveying the house, stalking these children. And that shows you he's crazy as hell because he had just got to the school himself. I don't know the exact date he enrolled in classes and moved into his apartment, if it was spring or summer, but he may have been there a little bit early before school started. This is what you would do in your spare time, ride over to Moscow, Idaho, 15 minutes away from Pullman, Washington, stalking these kids. Because it's interesting that he was already over there at their house late summer. So put it together. How did he come across the girl? Social media, bumped into him on campus, what? Was over at the campus stalking, looking for somebody to stalk? See, we don't know. We just know he was following him on social media, had been over to the house, his phone pinging there, car seen over there, got a ticket one evening. He was a busy bee. And it's scary. Now that you're hearing this information, if we're to believe what this DoorDash person is saying, I parked right beside him. So imagine he's sitting out there in the lot. Even at the curb, it's still crazy. It's crazy. But to be in the lot and the girls are there and they never look out the window just to say, whose car is that? Why is that car parked behind Susie Mae's car? Why is that car at the edge of the driveway? Nobody gets up and look out the window because they've been out partying, having a good time. Guess they ain't thinking about looking out no window and worrying about whose car is where. So now let's go to the elephant in the room. If he pulled up in the parking lot, you mean to tell me Bethany never looked out her window to notice Kohberger's car parked out, or got up to hear the DoorDash person pull up? Bingo card. Say, whoa, she's on the bottom level. One of her windows should be facing the parking lot. So she didn't get up when the DoorDash came. She didn't get up when she heard Kohberger pull up, if indeed he was in the parking lot or at the edge of the driveway. So I asked all the questions because they're relevant. It's scary stuff.
And then went in for about 10 minutes to commit these murders. We don't know, but it's certainly interesting to think about.
That's what I wondered. And then also, just with the pictures we're looking at now, again, I'm always so sad when I see those cars parked out front behind the yellow police tape, because
Exactly.
It's sort of the vehicle's frozen in time from the kids who would never come back to use their own vehicles until their parents or their loved ones took those vehicles away. But it certainly doesn't look like there's a whole lot of room, which made me wonder if this DoorDash driver parked out front on the street, knowing, well, I can't go into this little parking lot. I'm just going to have to park out here on the street, which now would make a little more sense. If Brian Kohberger did this, if he's really the killer, he might.
Banfield, what are you talking about? All that room, there's enough room for a person to park behind that car, and probably two more cars up here. So that's not true. It's late in the morning. The DoorDash driver probably is not thinking about getting blocked in. It's late. 3, 4 something in the morning. Why am I worried about getting blocked in at that time of the morning? It's not like you got people hanging out, partying. Cars are coming in and out when you pull up. All that space in there to park. These cars are left here after the murder. So there's enough room to go up in there and park. Either behind this car, that car. You got room to park there. As you see, there's a police car right there. And I don't know how much more room there is in this parking lot because you can't tell. You got enough room to pull up right there or behind one of the cars and back yourself out. And you could even still turn around and back out that way and then come around this way and come on out. Come on now. That parking lot is not that small. That parking lot there's enough room to park, matter of fact, a few cars in there. As you can see, If you were to park close, you probably could get 2 more cars in there, 2 more there, 2 more there, 2 more in there, another one there. You have quite a little bit of room to park some cars. Banfield she live in the city, she don't have a car, she don't drive. I'm just saying. Hey, you know Queen keeps it real.
Might be surveilling from a little farther away, not so obvious, and out on the street. But that's the only thing I can think of, because as you said, going up that side road, it's really hard to get access to the house. As a DoorDash driver, you just wouldn't go up that side road to the side.
Well, it's not the house. Why would I go up there and park? For what?
This is not a...
Sorry about that. Commercial, everybody. I don't see her parking on the side of the road. When you use your GPS, if it's accurate, it's going to ping at the location or a little couple of feet away from your actual location. She would have no reason to go up to the side of that house. And if she was confused, I'm sure she would message the person to say, hey, where's the house, blah, blah, blah.
It's tight and confusing.
Xana would have told her.
The layout when you drive up there is very, very strange and tight. We would always have a hard time finding a place to park up there.
There's no reason to go up here.
On the street there. But it's difficult. It's hard to get in there. So there's a place where maybe a DoorDash driver could have just pulled off without going fully into the driveway and like put their flashers on and run up with the food. But it's hard to imagine that Brian Kohberger just parked right in front of the house. I have to say I'm a little skeptical of this whole story. Just the way that it came out through the body camera video, the fact that in all of the police documents that we've been able to see in the probable cause, we knew there was a DoorDash driver, actually. But if they had a real credible witness who saw Brian Kohberger at the house, that is huge. How would we not know that by now? It's possible it's just like a bombshell that they're saving for the trial.
Could be.
Don't you think maybe that would have been in the probable cause or in all these court hearings that we've been to?
So, thinks he's a little leery about the DoorDash driver's account of being next to Kohberger. So I'm going to put that on a poll. Do you believe the DoorDash driver saw Kohberger going into the house? Yes or no? Is this person making this up? Could it be they were there dropping off the food and they just want to immerse themselves in the case like some other little busybodies, but they didn't see Kohberger? We do know that he was going up and down the street, circling the neighborhood before parking his car wherever. And I'm assuming he'd want to park to where he could get in and get out. The thing you have to understand about this case is that Kohberger didn't care really about being seen, because in order to go up in the house and break in, you had to be seen at night. So that means anybody could have seen you coming or going. Somebody could have had a doorbell camera. So he didn't care. So I don't think it really matters if he parked in the parking lot, at the edge of the driveway, that side road, if he parked up behind, up at that apartment complex and walked down and shimmied down. I don't think it really matters. Because if you're willing to stalk somebody, go to their house numerous times, sit outside, drive around the neighborhood an hour or so beforehand, what difference does it make about, I guess, where he parked? Up the street, down the street, behind the building, you know what I'm saying, behind the house. He broke in and he killed these kids. That's the point. He stalked them and broke in. And he was able to go to his car, wherever it was parked, and he got away. And he stayed free for a few months until he was apprehended through ancestral DNA. And yes, there have been leaks to the media pertaining to this case, which Annie has been fighting hard about that as well. Information relayed on Dateline. I have not watched that segment to see what it is that was told. We know that Kaylee's father has been very vocal during this case, and maybe it's something that he said because he talks a lot and he does put out a lot of information, his opinions about things. Now we've got Annie wanting a delayment and also introducing an alternate perpetrators. So did this woman see Brian Kohberger in his car sitting down? And exactly where did she park her car that fateful morning? And where was his car parked? Because she claimed she was right beside him. But what is weird is that she would mention this to a cop during an alleged DUI stop. What's the relevance of mentioning this when you're being pulled over for DUI, expired tag, which is soever. And what did the cop say to her? Oh, really? Wow, okay. Well, I need to see your driver's license and registration. I'm just saying.
Into where we get new little nuggets. I would have thought maybe we would have heard about that by now.
I can't believe that it wasn't even a whisper rumor.
Exactly.
You're right, especially with all the reporters that descended upon the story, finding every DoorDash driver in town. I know that we try to reach every DoorDash driver in town, but the problem is everybody, does side hustles with DoorDash. So it could have been anybody, and that was the problem with actually trying to find the person who did deliver the food that night. Okay, the question about this person in particular, MM, the woman in particular who's, told the police, I'm the one who's going to have to testify in this case. I'm the DoorDash driver. I can't imagine what it's like to be her, because she had nothing to do with any of this. I'm sure she wants nothing to do with any of this. The stress and the frustration that this would have brought to her life, I'm sure, is unthinkable. But she also may have the credibility issues, especially if there's a DUI in play, or
exactly.
Drinking, and she seemed to say on the body cam, it isn't the first time.
Ooh, wow.
Look, I feel terrible for her too.
Wow. That's not good.
We've confirmed she is the DoorDash driver, and she was there at 4 a.m. just minutes before this brutal slaughter happened. That's a hard thing to deal with, I'm sure, and I feel very, very sorry for this woman.
Okay, so Brian says it has been confirmed she is the person who delivered the food. This MM. So Banfield and her team tried finding out who the person is. Well, Brian is now saying she is the person who was there. So possibly what she told the cop a year or so before, whenever she had the conversation, it was the truth. But still, I don't understand why she would mention it. Maybe she was scared. She thought that would maybe get her off from whatever she's being accused of, or whatever they were going to find out about her. She didn't want to go to jail. I don't know. But if she has a drinking problem, that ain't good. And yes, that's going to be probably used against her. Hey, were you drinking that night? Did you have something to drink that night? When was the last time she's been arrested? Or any other crime she has committed, felonious or misdemeanors pertaining to alcohol or other crimes. This is bad business, because you just don't want anything negative on the witnesses, because that's what the defense is going to do. Chew you up, spit you out. Anything they can come up with negative to attack your disposition, your credibility, exactly. So when was the last time she was arrested? And did she get arrested this last time? Was it just for a tag, or did they test her and saw that she was inebriated under the influence of something? Narcotics, drugs, pills, alcohol, weed, what? Lord have mercy. And guess what? Does she still drive for DoorDash? That's what I'm curious about. Damn.
In terms of credibility, I've seen the body camera video. She's pulled over, she's crying, she's had DUI in the past. They take her back to the station. She's emotional, she's distraught, and she says, and she's just telling this cop that I'm the witness from the Brian Kohberger case. I'm the DoorDash driver. I saw Brian. I parked right next to him. I'm just wondering, was she was really the DoorDash driver, but maybe she thinks that she parked right next to him, but it wasn't actually him. I don't know. I just think about the credibility. And I go back to the point that how is this the first time we're hearing this story? And it's through this means, through a body camera video that's totally unrelated of this woman in a very, very desperate situation after she gets pulled over for DUI.
So what do you think, just in terms of this hearing tomorrow? Look, like you said, your focus was all about the Dateline leaks and how the defense is just sort of apoplectic about how this information got out from under the gag. Now there's this, and it's out there. It's not a leak. It's just, people put things together. Is this going to have an effect potentially on tomorrow's hearing and the issue at hand, which is a delay in the upcoming August start?
All right, this feels...
Brief intermission. Will this cause another delay, everybody? This DoorDash information. Do you believe the DoorDash driver? I will put up a poll after this live stream. Feel free to take the poll after this live. Lord have mercy.
I don't think so. I suspect this will not come up at the hearing. I do think it's going to be a bombshell hearing. I think it's going to be a really interesting, juicy hearing. I think that the judge is going to have to hear both sides about whether they want to delay, and I think he'll probably make a decision because they've already filed their briefs with their reasoning. But what I'm more interested in is at the last hearing, Ashley, you remember, he talked about wanting to bring on a special prosecutor to do an investigation to sniff out who the leaker is within law enforcement and figure out who leaked that information to Dateline. I think we're going to get an update on that. Are they going to bring in a special prosecutor now to have, I mean, could there be criminal charges? Have they figured out who this person is? They may have even figured it out by now. I'm very interested.
Could be multiple people leaking stuff,
which is going to come out at this hearing tomorrow, Ashley.
Have you been, and listen, everything in this case has been difficult to learn, but have you heard any rumblings of an investigation already? Like, have they been ferreting out who's spoken with whom? Have they confiscated cell phones and that sort of kind of, I hate to even suggest it, but asking people within the investigative circle, hand over your phones or we'll subpoena them and we'll search your history.
Well, we know that they asked everyone involved in the case and everyone in law enforcement involved in the case to save all of the records in their cell phones and emails so that they could go back and try to figure out who this leaker is. In terms of how the investigation has progressed, we don't know. That doesn't surprise me, though. I mean, this judge is serious, and he was serious before, and people were nervous to speak out before. I'll tell you, after the last hearing, I don't think we're going to know anything about that investigation. I think people are nervous, which is why I think it's going to be interesting tomorrow to finally find out what's been going on behind the scenes here, and will they in fact delay the trial because of this ongoing investigation into the leaker.
Wow. And then this weirdness that just sort of crops up the day before the hearing. Yeah. Okay, well, obviously, don't make plans at this time tomorrow night, Brian Anton. You're the lead guest once we hear how the hearing goes. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for scrambling early to get that information up for us. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ash.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below.
All right, everybody. That's the latest DoorDash information. DoorDash claims to put herself next to Brian Kohberger, outs herself to the police during an alleged DUI stop, expired tag. What happened to her? I'd like to know what happened to her, number one. Who's leaking information to the public? What was the information leaked to Dateline? I have yet to watch that commentary, so I don't know what they're speaking of. Is it this DoorDash information? I don't know. We do know Eyewitnesses have spoken out to a documentary on Prime Video. You can watch it July 11th on Prime. What will these people have to say? Ethan's family were interviewed. I'm very stunned that they're speaking out because for the past couple of years, they have not been speaking out pertaining to their son and the murders. I just got a notification. Karen Reed has been found not guilty of murder. That's the latest events pertaining to her. I didn't cover that case, but I just got that notification in while I'm live. I don't know where none of this is going, but I do know there's a special meeting today, motions today. BK's attorney is trying to introduce alternative perpetrators that will be in a private meeting with the judge, and then the public will get to hear the motions for the delayment. She wants the trial delayed because she's not ready. As the judge told her, you've had ample enough time to hire enough people to help you, legal assistants to help you. But she's the type, she wants to go through every bit of information herself. And then she had the audacity to take on another death penalty case while going to the judge crying about she don't have enough time to go through the BK evidence, which is bullshit because you were appointed this case because they feel like you're the most qualified in the state of Idaho to do this case, work this case, because it's a death penalty case. So you had the expertise. So you're wasting the court's time with this nonsense that you need more time. And this foolishness about an alternative perpetrator. Who is it? Who is it, ma'am? Yeah, it's nobody. That's the latest, everybody. BK wants a delayment. Supposed to give an alternate perpetrator. Eyewitnesses who were there at the house, the 3 young people who were there with Dylan and Bethany that morning, has spoken in the documentary. Also, Ethan's family has spoken, different people speaking out. Check it out, July 11th, Prime Video. And also now we have a woman who admitted to a cop a year or so ago, and she's the DoorDash driver who sat beside Kohberger the morning of the murders. M.M. Why she told this to a cop? Maybe she said it because she was scared. She's worried about getting arrested. She also admitted she's had a previous DUI. Does this woman have a drinking problem? Was she on the job drinking when she delivered the food? Lord have mercy, I'm getting ready to put that in the shorts. So go ahead and look in the YouTube queue here in a few minutes. I'm going to put a few shorts in there pertaining to this information. I'll be back with more stimulating content and also bringing you an update no later than tomorrow morning pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs' dilemma in court today. Brendan Paul, the drug mule, ex-assistant, is supposed to be testifying today. We will see what he has to say. And hopefully he'll tell the truth and bring the business. And he'll probably repeat the same thing everybody else has repeated. He used me. I worked for him. He paid me this. I got drugs for him, blah, blah, blah. Same old song and dance. Use and abuse. Once again, Tyler Perry being sued for $260 million by actor Derek Dixon, who worked on The Oval Office, one of Tyler Perry's TV shows. He's claiming sexual assault, sexual battery, sexual harassment. Also, other persons are supposed to be coming forward to also bring forward claims against Tyler Perry for sexual improprieties. Do you believe these allegations? Do you believe Derek Dixon? I don't believe what he's saying. I believe maybe something went on between he and Tyler Perry. He's not telling the whole truth. Because once you go to someone's house, drunk, fall asleep in their house, get up, go work for them months later, they're starting to send you sexual texts and things, why would you deal with him? I would only deal with him on an as-needed basis, such as work. After I'm done filming my scenes, he couldn't call me, talk to me, meet me. It wouldn't be nothing. It wouldn't be nothing. If he tried talking to me, I wouldn't talk to him. If I was that thirsty for work, let me say, I would not meet with Tyler Perry under any circumstances once he started sending me sexual questions, innuendos, or whatever in text messages. Just saying. The fact then you go live in his house after this incident, it doesn't make any sense. As I said, has Tyler Perry offered other people to stay in his home, other people he met on the street that needed a place to live? Was he married, had a kid at the time, who was living in his house at the time? He had this guy visiting when he got drunk, then later him staying there in his guest house. Make it make sense. I believe that perhaps these two have had sex. And then you got to prove that too, which is no crime. The man is bisexual on the down low. He wants to have sex with a white man. That's his business. But the point is, he's perpetrating it as a heterosexual black man. That's the problem. R. Kelly, locked up, confinement, solitary, is claiming prison staff are trying to murder him. Is there truth to these allegations? That's my latest hot butter news. Once again, Sean Puffy Combs is standing trial for human trafficking, racketeering, engaging in prostitution by transportation. Is he guilty of these said crimes? Has the government proven their case against Puffy? Woo! What a mouthful. I got to rest after this. I've been on this horn all day. Information, just so I can bring you all the latest tea. And also, Mr. Gray, Brashear Gray, former Empire star, has been arrested for assault in Chesapeake, Virginia. He likes to put his hands on people. He's out on a $50 bond, if you did not know. And some little guy sitting in a car was defending him, saying he's got emotional trouble. Well, nobody cares about that. You're not supposed to be hitting people, so it is what it is. And he had a little sugar in his damn tank. So I thought, what the hell is going on here? None of my damn business. I'm just bringing you the tea. And I must say, with the videos I've made in the past hours today, I have brought you enough tea that your lips should be burning. Because, baby, when I say the block is hot, between R. Kelly, Sean Puffy Combs trial, Tyler Perry, Brashear Gray, who else? Brian Kohberger, this DoorDash nonsense, Eyewitnesses speaking in a documentary. Baby, 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 baby. Your tongue should be burning and your lips. Shut your mouth. Thank you for your time. Follow me on the Newsbreak app and also here on YouTube. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats, always welcome to the live stream. Thank you for my new subs. God bless all of you. Woo! Queen is almost at, what is that, 16,300 subscribers. God is good. Thank you for your time and patronizing this network. I appreciate it. After this trial is over with, I will decide if I want to cover this Kohberger nonsense, because every day I just can't see it. I'm exhausted talking about Puffy, and I don't know if I can hang on doing a P. Diddy trial, because I did say after Puffy, after we get a verdict next week or so, I'm freelancing my my content. I don't have the patience for all of this extra work to put in. It's just too much for me at the current moment. I just don't have the patience for all this extra reading and researching, and you know what I'm saying? And I'm not getting to just do with all this work being put in. So it's like I'm on freelance style now. So when you see the switch up, you either ride the ride or not. It's up to you. But thank you anyway for those who have supported the network and continue to support the network. But I want to get an ending to this Sean Combs nonsense, because as I said, I've gotten bored with the content, because every day it's the same. He said, she said, he said, she said, he did this, he did this. It's not to say that these people are lying. It's just to say it's pathetic and it's sad that these people had to feel the need to stoop to this level to deal with this human, and the fact that he stooped to such a lower level in mistreating these people. And at some point, I don't care who you are, that's including myself, you have to say, I'm better than this, I'm worthy, and I don't have to put up with this type of nonsense and foolishness for love, affection, camaraderie, attention, money, whatever your reasons are for dealing with people. You deserve better. And I've always felt this way, especially dealing with a job. I won't put up with no nonsense on no damn job. I'm not getting ready to go stand over a stove, dealing with an elderly, a client, a cash register, putting up with nonsense just for a few dollars, dirty ass attitudes. Hell no. And a lot of people say, well, you got to work. You damn right. But guess what? You're not going to drive me crazy to say I got a job. Because you got a lot of people who have moved around. Let's keep it real. Who have moved around from job to job just because the bullshit they have to put up with people who are just miserable who show up to work. And you've seen it, co-workers, bosses, supervisors, horrible conditions, unsanitary conditions, not enough breaks, not enough money on the clock, hour for hour working, not getting your just due. You're doing all this just to say, oh, so I can keep a place to live, keep a car running. It's not right. And in the end, it affects your health, your sanity. And people don't really think about that at the time, what you do and endure. And yes, you're going to have busy bodies, and that's par for the course. But it should never be an even exchange of your sanity and your health, putting up with some dirty MFs on a job. And I also say the same for where you live, especially when you're living in apartments, small communities where you have to deal with a lot of nonsense, crazy neighbors and stuff. Nobody should have to put up with nonsense just to have a place to sleep, place to work. Life shouldn't be designed that way, but you know, it is what it is. But in the end, your sanity and your health is more important. So if you find yourself in a bad situation with a job, a boss, co-workers, my advice to you is to start looking for something else to do. And it's not to say that you won't have problems at the next job, but if it's really bad where you are, you need to get yourself out of there, because you are worthy and you deserve better than that. And that also goes for your courtships and your relationships with other people. When it is weighing you down mentally, buck up and get out. You don't have to hate people, but you don't have to deal with them either. And that's what people don't understand about cutting people off. I don't have to hate you, but I don't got to deal with you. It's not mandated that we deal with anybody. If you're draining a person's spirit, you can't expect them to continue dealing with you. So that goes for everybody. Do you understand what I'm saying? Nobody is obligated to deal with your nonsense. Whether we are related, not related, boss, neighbor, old friend, classmate, you don't have to put up with nonsense. And what people don't seem to understand is that everybody is going through something. So that's why you need to tread lightly when you are bringing your garbage to other people. Everybody's got problems. And there's just days that people just don't want to deal with extra flack, whether they got something on their plate or not. There's just days you don't want to hear it and you don't want to deal with it, and you don't have to. That's my commentary. Thank you for your time. You have been listening to the Vault XL. Thank you.